Tuesday Talks on RTL SA. Catch Tuesday Talks with Noel Johnson and Dave Romero, live on RTL SA. Politics, religion, business and life. No subject is sacred. You are invited to join the conversation every Tuesday between 10 and 12, unpacking information on ground level. Tuesday Talks on RTL SA.
You're listening to RTL SA.
Yes, you are indeed, and it is time to get into Tuesday Talks today. And joining me, as usual, for Tuesday Talks, Dave Romero. Welcome. Good to see you again, good sir.
Good morning, Noel. How are you doing, bud?
Oh, man, if I was any better, I'd be worried.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Well, that's awesome news. Glad to hear that, Noel.
Dave, we've got a ton of stuff to talk about, and I know you intimated during the week that you wanted to talk about COVID. I'll be honest with you, I'm COVID fatigued, but talking about this new Omnicron variant that came through today, the information that came through today was that it's not as bad as what Delta is. Twice as infectious, but not as bad when it comes to symptoms.
Well, yeah, so I'm following the stats on a daily basis. And, yeah, obviously we're in the start of the fourth wave. But look at how many people have been hospitalized and the graph on deaths. I know it's a bit clinical, but that should give you an indication of how deadly it is. And the numbers are not there. So although the infections are there, people are saying that if you're vaccinated, that it feels like a mild flu. Okay, so it is positive for the virus, and it feels like a mild flu. So it really is not a train smash. So yeah, I just you talk about being COVID fatigued. I'm just hurtful now.
I said fatigue. Hotful is actually how I feel. Dave, do you think people are taking this too lightly, or do you think that people are making it worse than what it is? When I say people, I'm talking about like governments and scientists. What is your take on it? What do you feel about what's happening at the moment?
Well, I think what Europe has done to us is scandalous, completely. It's completely political. Even the head of WHO said what UK did in closing the borders to us in a time where we had 100,000 people coming through to South Africa, which cost this lockdown is costing us, this action by Britain is costing us 223 million rand a day. Okay. So and now it's come out that actually the whole of Europe's got the same variant. So it's not a South African variant, which is founded, and in our eagerness to be transparent, we went and we got punished. It's ridiculous. There is no scientific evidence that closing the borders will stem the growth. There's no actual evidence. And my personal view, I put a post up this morning on Facebook. We just have to let it run its course.
It's so true what you say.
We just let it run its course.
They were saying in an interview the other day that by the time you identify a new variant, it's already spread across the world.
Exactly.
We're always playing catch up.
Exactly. So just let it run its course, and let's not close borders and put more restrictions. We just have to accept that this is the case. I believe that we need to be vaccinated. I don't want the anti-vaxxers like having a go at me. That's my view. And if the anti-vaxxers don't want to, well, okay, they have to live with that.
The specialist that was on the show this morning, I don't know if you caught the piece this morning, but he was saying that he did a walk through the hospital in Tshwane last week on Sunday, I think he was saying. And he was saying that there were 9 cases of COVID pneumonia in the ward, and all 9 of them were unvaccinated. whereas the rest of the people that had COVID had mild symptoms, but were all vaccinated.
Yeah. You see, I mean, you can't argue with this kind of facts. So now you'll have, if you put that on social media, you'll have a tirade that's saying that they're all lying, they're all part of the conspiracy, that they all work for pharmaceutical companies, that all these doctors get paid by the pharmaceutical companies. It's all bullshit. So I don't know. I don't know how one counters that, but by just saying that the numbers don't lie, and then people say, yeah, but you have people that, athletes that drop dead of heart attack, and they blame the vaccine. Well, it happens all the time that people, that athletes have heart attacks. Yeah. So I believe we should get vaccinated. That's my belief. And if you want to attack me on it, that's fine. That's you have to live with your thing. But we can't bring more restrictions, Clark.
The way I see it is every single scientific organization in the world, every single one, backs the vaccination. And there's no room to argue with that. It's just as simple as that. Science.
But they're all being paid by pharmaceutical companies.
Every single one of them in the world.
Yeah, all of them. The whole lot.
Dave, I want to talk about the NPA, and I did ask you this morning if you knew what was going on there, because it seems like there's it's bubbling under at the moment, and it seems like there's something big on its way. And obviously we had the resignation of Hermione Cronier from Post. Yeah. And so there just seems to be a bit of drama, and people are thinking that the NPA is in disarray. What are your thoughts?
No, I don't think the NPA is in disarray. But remember that during the Zuma years, Zuma and his cronies systematically tried to destroy every single institution in the country that went against them. That's why when he came into power, he scrapped the Scorpions. Okay, so now Cronier was, in fact, in charge of a version of the Scorpions that we originally had, and remember that it will take a lot of time to fix something that the Zuma cronies destroyed or tried to destroy in the NPA. And you probably have a lot of people still there that are loyal to the RET faction of the ANC. So I think someone that's a professional like Cronier and Batoy that's in charge of the NPA, they probably get very frustrated that they're not getting the funding. In fact, Cronier's department that's recently have moved to their own secured offices is the size of a mid-sized law practice. Okay. Now, a mid-sized law practice is trying to fight all the state capture corruption cases, which currently they have 17 on the go. They've got 17 on the go. And they have made arrests. I mean, the Ace Magashule was arrested, and there's been some action. It's not a situation there's been no action. There has been action, but not quick enough. Obviously, we all want to see all these bastards behind bars. Okay. But her frustration was that it's a mid-sized law firm. It should be the size of one of the biggest law firms in our country, in fact.
Absolutely.
On the talks. Okay, so the budget's not there. And I think it was a cry of desperation that Cronier said, look, I've had enough. Shamila, the boss, has come out and put up a brave face and said it's not disarray. I think it's still been fixed. No, it's not in disarray. It was in disarray. It was a mess. Okay. But I think we're making progress. It just takes time to fix the rot, I'm afraid.
Yeah, from what I read, Cronier's reasoning seems to be the fact that it's 20-hour work days, and she is not spending time with family and things like that. That is the reasoning that was offered by Shamila Batoy. But a lot of people don't buy it. A lot of people are thinking that there were more sinister reasons for her vacating her post.
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I do believe that the fact that she lives in Cape Town and has to commute to Tshwane is a factor, and she's got kids. I'm sure that is a factor. 20 hours is hectic. And I think there's a lot of pressure on her from all observers to say, listen, let's have more arrests. Okay, so I think it's not one thing. I think it's a combination of things. But to say that the MPA is in disarray, I think is disingenuous. I think there is progress. They don't have enough budget. There's, the Treasury is constrained because of the ANC cadres stealing and looting our economy. So there's less available because of it, but I think there is progress. Let's just remember that Zuma did spend time in jail, which we would have never thought even possible. And Asma-Gushili got arrested, and quite a few other MPs got arrested. So there is progress. It's not stagnant. There is progress. Whether it's quick, it's never quick enough. No, it's never quick enough.
Yeah. What is the next step? They obviously have to replace her now. Is that going to be a political appointment, or do you think that we're going to find somebody that's suitable?
I think we're going to find someone suitable. I think the days of complete there's still window dressing taking place, but both these ladies are phenomenal. I think they're the best leaders we've had in a long time. So it's a sad loss to lose Premier, but I think she'll be replaced by also a competent person.
Right, Dave, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's happening in Cabinet at the moment regarding the statutory rape bill that they are trying to pass.
Own your piece of RTL by sponsoring a feature.
Burning topic. Bad Joke Friday. In other news, Power Play Trivia.
You will be helping keep RTL on air and building infrastructure for as little as
300 Rand per week.
Have your or your company's name associated with the fastest growing online radio station in the world.
The RTL SA Top 10. Your top three.
Contact RTL for more info on WhatsApp 064 134 0020 or email info@noeljohnson.co.za. It's time to mass debate on RTL SA.
Tuesday Talks on RTL SA. Catch Tuesday Talks with Noel Johnson and Dave Romero, live on RTL SA. Politics, religion, business and life. No subject is sacred. You are invited to join the conversation every Tuesday between 10 and 12, unpacking information on ground level. Tuesday Talks on RTL SA.
You're listening to RTL SA.
Right, so we are in the middle of Tuesday Talks, and I've got Dave Romero on air with me. Dave, I was horrified this morning. The Star newspaper ran with the headline talking about this bill that they're trying to pass in Cabinet at the moment regarding statutory rape. And the stats that they threw out, and I was horrified when I saw it. I can't even say horrified properly. But it was 136,000 girls between the ages of 10 and 19 are giving birth on an annual basis. And that's just in the public health facilities. Yeah. That is a ridiculous amount of pregnancy happening at school. So what Cabinet are trying to do now is they're trying to say, okay, well, now the men who impregnate these girls can and should be charged with statutory rape.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just unpack this. Do we ever ask the reason why this is happening? Has it ever been addressed? Okay, so we're trying to treat the symptoms, but why is this happening? Why is it going on? And now I've read this morning that they're trying to introduce, or they're introducing 106 courts, 6 related offences courts. I mean, I don't know why these were abolished at the dawn of our democracy. We had them before, they got abolished, and now they bring it back again. But why is it happening? What the problem that we have, our fundamental problem we have in our country with all this what's going on, is the absent fathers. Do you know that in terms of families, mothers, 70% of mothers are raising the kids on their own. So there's no father figure involved in raising our young men. Okay, so there's no role models, and that is the problem, that we don't address that issue. So yes, we can put a plaster by bringing statutory rape, which I agree, they should bring it in, okay, but we're not treating the symptom. We're not treating as to why this is happening. Why is it possible that 10-year-old girl falls pregnant?
Before we go there,
even possible?
Before we go there, I just want to unpack the statutory rape thing properly, because there are two ways that you can look at this whole statutory rape thing. Yes, okay, someone impregnated a 10-year-old, that is statutory rape, given, hands down, no question about it. But when you get to now 16, 17, the law's a little bit more grey when it comes to that. And I think what Cabinet is trying to do now is stamp that out. But statutory rape is a very big charge. And what happens if it was consensual? You know what I mean? Are we not opening a can of worms here that is like very difficult to contain?
Okay, so I don't agree that it should go up to 19. I mean, is the law, do they say they want to bring it up to 19?
No, that's just the stats that were released with regards to pregnancies. I'm not sure what the law states.
Okay, I think but don't we have law in place already that at 16, it's up to 16, the age of 16 statutory rape? There are laws in place, right?
I think that.
So what is this amendment? What's the amendment?
I'm not exactly sure, because like I said, it's being tabled in cabinets at the moment, but the reports that are coming back are saying that it is going to certainly shake up this whole story of school pregnancies, and they haven't given us all the details yet, but speculation is that even up to the age of 17, 18, statutory rape can be implemented. That's sort of what the talk is. I don't know if they'll get there, but if they do, I can see that being a major problem.
Yeah, I think I'll call that laws, but I do recall that dropped it down to 13 if it's consensual or something. Look, I think that if the law, I haven't studied the law, by the way. I haven't studied what this new legislation is all about. But if they're saying that up to the age of 16 statutory rape, I think the law already states that. So I'm not quite sure what the amendment is, because it is statutory rape up to the age of 16. I don't think 17, 18, if it's consensual, it can be called statutory rape. Okay.
According to
so I'll be
the
Gazette,
according to the Gazette, it's 17. 17 and below is statutory.
So that is, I think that is fair. So I'm not quite sure what the amendment is. I didn't even think it was possible for a child to fall pregnant at 10. I didn't think it was medically even possible. But again, I must come back now into the root of all this. The gender-based violence and this kind of behavior, it stems from the fact that we have a society where we have absent fathers. And we as men, if we don't take responsibility for our actions, this is not going to go away. It's not going to go away. We have to actually get to the root of the problem, and we need civil society, and we need parents, and we need everybody involved in changing the mindset of our young men.
How do you do that? How do you condition and okay, I mean, there's no quick fix to this, because you can't snap your fingers now and change it. It's going to have to be a generational change. You know, it has to start today for the next generation. But how do we go about it?
So through proper education. You know, it's just unacceptable. So certain social etiquettes. It's just certain behaviors unacceptable, and it comes through civil society getting involved and proper education, and men must start taking responsibility, And we as South African men, and I'm sure I'm going to be criticized, we don't. 70% of women in South Africa bring up their child on their own. It must be one of the highest stats in the world. So I'm not surprised that our crime statistics towards or gender-based violence is one of the highest in the world, because there's no role models. And we as men, we have to take responsibility. We have to start by teaching our kids. First of all, we need to start by being present and teaching our young men what proper behavior is. That's what we need to do. We have to take the lead. It's not, we can't pass that responsibility on the women. It's us. We need to be the role model. And as long as we don't accept that kind of responsibility, nothing's going to change. Yeah, you can bring in law, statutory rape. Yes, you can amend it. You can do whatever you like, but you have to treat the root of the problem. And it's a societal rule, and we have to step up and do our bit.
But this is where I have the issue now, because our current generation at the moment is the one that is doing the wrong and not stepping up and being the men of today are not the ones that are stepping up. How do we fix this problem tomorrow? Because I don't think, quite honestly, the men of today who were not taught by their fathers how to do it properly, they're not going to teach their children how to do it properly. So we're going to need some external intervention here somehow. And I think that's where governments, and you were talking about education and things like that, government's going to have to step up and do something seriously. The statutory rape thing is, yes, that's fine. That's good. It's probably a move in the right direction. But something more needs to be done. And I really think government needs to take leadership in this.
Yeah, but I'm laughing at your suggestion, because every time we ask government to take leadership on something, the results are not there. So,
fair enough.
Yes, theoretically, you're right, but and it's not a quick fix. It's going to take some time. But I'm afraid we need to support civil society. They're the ones that are actually affecting change. Groupings like Women Leads Movement, where they're doing gender-based violence, are going to communities and saying to the men, it's not right to have the sex with a woman that says no. Okay, they're going there and teaching men, and it's civil society that will step up. Government, good luck. No, of course. You're right. They should, and I hate the fact that I'm saying openly that they should, but the track record is against them. Civil society is the one. So how is that going to work? Is that corporates that are sitting with the CSI funds, etc., need to channel funds into non-profits that are geared and are trained to help civil society. And there are many, but again, they underfunded, and it's up to us, business and civil society, to actually make a difference.
But I also think it starts at home, and anybody listening to this show now and that will catch the restream later or anything like that, it really starts at home. And I think we really need to just stop for a second, think about how we would feel if we were treated that way, for example. Maybe that's a good place to start, is start saying,
Absolutely.
How would we feel, or how do we believe women should be treated, and how would we feel if our daughters were falling pregnant, and teach our boys from that perspective. Maybe start at home.
Yeah, so the only way to do it is by setting an example, right? So, I've got a 22-year-old son, and, how he treats I see how he treats his girlfriend. He treats her with respect and with love and with dignity. And it's so I know that when he has children, he will treat his kids in a manner that will reflect that. I also install in my two beautiful daughters that it's unacceptable to be treated in any way but with respect and with love and dignity. That they should not accept anything below, and they don't. They don't accept it. Okay, so that's how we do. We as men, we do our bit. That's where we start. But again, it'll take a time. It's going to take time.
That comment you just made.
Sorry.
So that comment you just made me think of something, because I'm busy reading a book called Boundaries at the moment. And in this book, they talk about teaching your children how to set boundaries for themselves. And maybe that's also a good way of going, is teach your daughters about the boundaries that they need to set for themselves, about the standards that they need to live up to, so that they also make better choices and not get themselves into situations where they are sort of vulnerable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, it takes two parents to do this, to raise children. And in fact, in African culture, it says it takes a village to grow a child. So, we need to get more involved. We need to get involved. And we as men, if we see any abuse towards kids or in regard, be it both friends, family members, or people in our circle, it's up to us to call it out. And we can't keep quiet. Because if you keep quiet, then you're complicit. Yeah. Completely complicit. You need to, if you see it, you need to stand up and challenge the situation. As uncomfortable it might seem, be a family member, etc., all abuse, we have to stand up. If we see it, we call it out.
And on that note, I think that's the best place to leave it, because that is the most poignant way to end this discussion. Do not let it slide.
Discussions, Noel.
But Dave, one thing we didn't do last week, or did we? I can't remember. The power play trivia question. Did I put you on the spot last week?
Did I
put you on the spot for the trivia question last week? I can't remember.
But go.
But I'm going to do it today because it's time to do the power play trivia.
Time to test your knowledge with Power Play Trivia.
I have a sneaky suspicion, Dave, that you might actually know the answer to this question. Okay, so the question is, what flavor is Cointreau, the liqueur? Do you know what flavor it is?
What is Cointreau?
Cointreau, yeah.
No, it's a coffee, isn't it?
No. I
It's not.
I thought you'd get this.
Well,
I really thought you would get this. I got correct answers from Bev and Zelda and Marius.
I could try it. Isn't it orange?
Lauren.
Orange flavor. It's orange.
That's it.
Orange.
Bingo. Orange is the correct answer.
Yes. Orange.
and here's the reinforcement. Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you again. We'll catch you again next
Always
week,
a pleasure,
Tuesday, for Tuesday Talks. Have yourself a wonderful week.
Tuesday Talks on RTL SA. Catch Tuesday Talks with Noel Johnson and Dave Romero, live on RTL SA. Politics, religion, business and life. No subject is sacred. You are invited to join the conversation every Tuesday between 10 and 12, unpacking information on ground level. Tuesday Talks on RTL SA.
RTL SA.